everybody. It is Sarah here with Purple Angel Oracle. Happy to be back. This last week was super intense on many different levels for me. I'd say Sunday into Monday is when physically the symptoms came in, and I literally just felt knocked out. Of course, I still had to take care of my kids, but in between that, I was on the couch. I could hardly, I was like getting the hot and cold sweats, and just, I did at first, that thought came in, that fear-filled thought, that it was something other than, integrating these energies. But that, I quickly pushed that out because I knew what it was. It was just something I kept hearing Source, God come in and say, just chill out. Let this settle. This was a big one. This was a lot of energy that came in. And so, yeah, I basically had to do that for 2 days, just kind of physically take it easy. And during that time that I was resting as well, I had a lot of deep-rooted emotions surface, okay, that I had to address. And this past week, there were times where I felt like I was drowning in anxiety, depression, that cloud of fear-based consciousness. And I'd picture my higher self or myself, they're both me, right? Looking down at myself, drowning in that, and saying, hey, grab my hand, I'll pull you out. And I would do that often because, first of all, it made me laugh. Like, I just laugh at myself, which is fun. And it actually helped. It truly helped. So like I've said before, when you're imagining these things, they're really happening. So I was actually pulling myself out of that, even if it was just for a short period of time where I got a break and felt some comfort, got a breath of fresh air, so I wasn't stuck drowning in that. It really helped get me through this cleansing and this purging that we're all going through. And for me personally, this whole coronavirus consciousness is challenging. This is a very powerful consciousness, as I'm sure you guys are aware. Very powerful. But the light that we hold within is far more powerful. So always just remember that. And everybody's going to handle this situation differently, and there's nothing wrong with how you are handling it. Because we all have different things that we're dealing with. Like for me personally, my son was born with, some problems. He's perfect, but he had some breathing issues, and I explained that in one of my videos previously. So I won't get fully into that, but I had to give my son mouth to mouth several times as a newborn. Like, I watched him turn dark blue. So I have PTSD, obviously, from that. I have fears they're very deep rooted that surround that. So this whole situation with this illness and seeing that now children are getting it, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. I can't it's hard for me not to consider that and take precautions to protect my child. I'm a mother. So this week I really there were times I got overcome with fear. It really did consume me. But I had to figure out a way to kind of just be in the middle. So not to one extreme and not to another. So it's like, yes, I'm taking the precautions, just in case. Okay. I don't know. Of course I always trust in God. I trust in God's plan. I trust that we're protected. But that motherly instinct is super strong as well. So I just found a good balance here. I'm not panicked about it. I've surrendered it to God. But at the same time, I'm enjoying staying in my home, keeping my kids safe. That feels good to me. It feels right. So I'm listening to myself, and that's what we should all do. We truly should. And you're not doing anything wrong if those fears do come in. We're being guided by God. Everything we do, we're being guided, whether we feel it or not. So that's a lot of things came up for me this past week that I had to kind of sort through and find my footing in a comfortable spot. and address these things. And I feel a lot better today because I don't feel to one extreme or another. I'm not panicked. I'm okay. I'm okay with where I'm at. And so, yeah, that's what I was going through. I'd love to know if many of you felt this intense purging take place this last week as well. And, another big message that definitely came in from Source was just calm down, take it easy. Okay. Don't get lost in the chaos as much as you can, because it's so much easier to stay in a state of peace and calm when you're not constantly watching the fear and the panic, as far as, the media or things you're being exposed to. So I kind of had to take a step back from that as well. And it is difficult because you have friends and family who are constantly bringing that up. And just observe it, I just had to learn to do my best not to let it consume me when it came in, and always just turn it over to God. Because, spirit, like I said, is always guiding you no matter what consciousness you are in. That's the truth. But you're able to feel spirit, and you're able to feel these comforting, loving energies and that connection so much more when you're calm and you're in a state of joy. I noticed that. That's because that's the vibration of love. So you're going to feel that connection a lot more if you're in that state of calm and peace. And it's definitely just about observing how you're feeling when you're being exposed to certain things. So it's like if you're watching the news or other videos on YouTube and they're causing these uncomfortable emotions, be aware of those emotions and take that as guidance. Like, oh, that's not making me feel very good. And that's what I've been doing as well. And that's kind of a push to say, hey, take a step back from it, or maybe avoid it altogether for a little while. And that's something else I kind of had to do. And yeah, and just being aware of how you're feeling and how you're reacting to every situation that you're confronted with. Like, look at it from a distance. Step outside yourself and look at it. Say, do I want to feel that? How is this making me feel? Because and also, when we're busy and we're stressed and it's like, all day alchemy. I posted that on my community board. Jen, she posted a video yesterday about this, and it ignited something in me because it's so true. And I'll share with you my personal experience, because she shared about losing something, a check or something, and everyone's freaking out trying to find it and they can't find it anywhere. And then just calming down, getting to a state where you're calm, and then all of a sudden you find it. Something leads you to it and you find it. And this actually happened to me about 4 years ago. I got a new kitten, a little Siamese. His name's Bear, and I still have him, but he was a baby at the time, and I had just gotten him. And we were living in an apartment, and I think we went to the store, came home, and I could not find him anywhere. And there's no way he could have gotten out. There really wasn't. But of course, my mind's freaking out because I had just lost one of my cats. It passed away. And so I had gotten a new kitten. And I'm freaking out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeremy, could you have bagged him up in the garbage and threw him out? And I mean, I was literally hysterical to that point where my husband actually went out to the main garbage can and got in there and lifted all the bags up to make sure he wasn't in there. It was that bad. I was freaking out. And I kept looking and looking. And finally I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I can't. I'm just going to lay here. And I remember I laid right under the frame of my bedroom door there, just right in between there. And I just laid down and I'm like praying. I'm like, God, give me a sign. Where is my cat? I'm freaking out. Please help me. But I was calm when I did it. And all of a sudden, something falls from the top of my closet, straight up falls right by my feet. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And sure enough, I get up and I move it, move stuff over, and there's my little kitten. So that's a perfect example of how you get your answers so much more clear and resolutions to your problems when you're in a state of calmness. Okay. And so that's one of the major things that I've been hearing from Source lately, is to just try to stay calm as much as you can during this process. And also, you know, there's other things that I know many of us watch on YouTube, as far as conspiracy theories or about the dark cabal, all these things. Okay. And I've noticed, because I watch some of that stuff from time to time, you know, but I've noticed there's a lot of anger being, and everyone, I mean, we have a right to be angry if this stuff is actually going on, but anger never has solved anything. And for everyone's mission, you know, like I said before, everyone's mission's different. So everyone's doing what they need to be doing, but it comes down to each individual. And as I said, being aware of your emotions. And some of the hostilities in this go a little too far for me personally. And I kind of have to take a step back and be like, you know, that doesn't resonate with me. You know, some of the stuff that my higher self is never confirmed to be truth. It just doesn't. And your higher self will never come in and tell you things that are out of anger or anything like that, because your higher self is from that vibration of love. It's the fifth dimension, and fear and anger and these lower vibrational energies do not exist there. So that's how you'll know if it's coming from your higher self. So that's another important thing, is you can also get consumed with those things. And by watching other people that are angry, it'll make you angry and you'll start feeling changes within you. It's like you're picking up on their energy. So that's why I'm just saying it's super important to be aware of how other people's energy is affecting you and how you can transmute that and try and find a place where you're calm. That's very important right now. And that's important on an individual level and as a collective, okay? Because the entire planet is going through a massive purge and a massive clearing here, which is also guided by Source. But many people right now are unable to feel that strong connection to God because of the chaos, the fear, and the panic. They're scared. But once the planet purges all of this and reaches a state of calmness, then that's when everyone will start seeing the beauty in all of it, what it actually did. Because they're unable to see that, many of us. Many, not us, but many people, right, are unable to see what's actually going on during this massive purge, basically, and how much growth is actually happening. So once it calms down, that's when all this will reveal itself to many. Now, for many of us, we're already seeing that. You know, and like I said, the answers to our problems come with ease. They come in with ease when we're able to quiet down and relax. So right now we're in humanity, the majority of humanity is in a state of panic, chaos, and just uncertainty is what it is. No one really knows what to do right now. So we're doing our best. We're just trying to navigate through this, especially as light workers, and we're aware of what's going on. We have all this information that we're getting. Our DNA is being activated, so we're remembering all these things. It's confusing for us too, because we're trying to put this all together and figure out what's actually going on. We're trying to navigate through these energies and you know, deal with the fear that comes in and our own individual purging. It's a lot. But the main thing, you know, to seek is just find a place where you can be calm, just calm and at peace. And like I said, I found a good spot as far as, you know, my PTSD goes and the panic and worrying about my son. And then also on the other end, knowing deep within that we're protected, we are safe. We came here to fulfill this promise. And that's what we're doing. So I found a good spot right in the middle there. And okay, so the last activity we had on Schumann was 17, which obviously that's one of my favorite numbers. And for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure many of you do, my birthday is January 17th. So the number 17 has always been very, very significant to me. I've seen that number synchronistically throughout my entire life. And every time I would look at it, it was a message from God, confirmation. It just represented God to me. And so anytime my birthday does come around, yes, I celebrate it because it's my birthday, but it's also a very spiritual day for me. It's a God day. I'm always looking for little gifts from God throughout that day, little miracles, and I'm extra vigilant on that day. But the number 17 represents so many things at this time, as I'm sure many of you know too. But it's also associated very strongly with victory and the restoration of all things, spiritual perfection and perfect order. And, I found this because the number 17 is mentioned so many times in the Bible. It's actually a very significant number in the Bible. And that's why it's been associated with these things. So think of that. I mean, the restoration of all things, that's exactly what's going on the planet right now. Spiritual perfection and perfect order. We're coming into a period, order out of chaos, right? The return to innocence. Going back to our spiritual roots, but also with so much more knowledge and being able to experience it in a physical body. That's what this whole thing was about, is learning how to feel these higher dimensional energies in an actual physical body. That's the beauty of it. So we can use our senses. We can taste, we can smell, we can see, and it's all going to be amplified. But the human body is actually a very spiritual vessel. It was strategically designed to hold higher dimensional light. That's the incredible thing. It's all spiritual. Then spiritual is just a word for what is, right? But that's why it was created. That's why this whole long drawn out earth process that seems like forever to us, but truly there is no time, was so we could sift through all of this. We've been sifting through and clearing for hundreds of years. And now we're literally just at that last point. Like, this is it. We're the fish about to jump out of water. Those final seconds, that's what we're in. Seconds in the big picture. And it's absolutely beautiful. I could not be more excited. So, I pulled some cards from the angels, and I can't make this up. I love this because I was just talking about victory and the number 17, and the first one out was victory. So there's our confirmation. It says, Archangel Sandalphon, your prayers have been heard and answered. Have faith, right? Have faith that we've already won. It truly wasn't a battle, but the light is always victorious. And that's what we need to remember as we're navigating through this. And we get lost in it sometimes. We get consumed. Like I said to you, I felt like I was drowning a few times. I'm not, I'm just like everybody else, all right? But just, you have to hold on to that when you're feeling lost, that no, we're not going there today. I know the truth. My prayers have been heard and they have been answered. All of ours have. Because we planned this. We knew this was it. This is why we came here. So whatever you can do to stay in a state of peace and joy, then do it. And the next card out, for those of you who like to write, this might be a good idea, right? Creative writing. Or for even those of you who haven't even tried it. Maybe the angels are saying, give it a shot here. It says, Archangel Gabriel, make time to write down your thoughts in a journal or pen, an article or book. So That's another good thing to do. So in these moments, if you ever have those moments where you're getting anxiety or you feel depression coming in, you feel like giving up, if you had written something previously down in your journal when you were in a good state, when you felt connected to source, a message of hope that you had written down, you could go back and read that in those times that you're feeling doubtful, and go look at yourself and look at the truth. That's why it's important. Or writing down your dreams, because sometimes you receive messages in your dreams that you fully cannot understand at all. You're like, what was that supposed to mean? And somebody tell me, right? And if you just write it down, and then, it could be a week later, a month later, or even a year later, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, didn't I have a dream about that? Didn't I write it down? And you go read it and it makes perfect sense to you. So it's like your DNA has been activated, or you got downloaded some information, right? But it's not the right time for you to put it together. Like I had said before, our DNA is like this big puzzle, and each piece is being activated. And everything will all make sense once this process is complete. But there's also little pieces of it that come together during this process, and little things start to make sense, like steps. So yeah, writing is actually, write a poem or just write down your thoughts. That's a really good way to calm you down if you're freaking out. That helps me. All right, third one out, gifts from God. Archangel Sandalphon again. We angels bring you gifts from your Creator. Open your arms to receive. So once again, with the being in a state of calmness, right? That's when you do that, that's you opening your arms to receive. Because if your mind is clouded with just those feelings, right? The fear, the panic, you have a very difficult time opening your arms to receive. It's unable to get in. It's like hitting this wall and it's just not getting anywhere. Because those energies these higher dimensional energies can't flourish, right? When it's like, how do I explain it? Meshed with these lower vibrational. It's very hard for us to see the beauty in things when we're at our lowest point. That's how it is. So as much as you can, and I know it's difficult, believe me, I know, to find a state of calm, that's when you're going to receive the comfort and the messages and all these things that we desire, the gifts from God. That's when you're able to see the beauty in this process that we're going through. And then last one out, clairsentience. It says, Archangel Raguel, notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. Once again, how I said about noticing emotional patterns. What is triggering you? Is it certain YouTube videos? Is it certain things or people, right, that are triggering certain emotions in you that are uncomfortable or whatever? And it keeps happening, right? You're noticing a pattern, even physically as well. If you notice a certain thing that you're eating and you keep getting headaches, or your body's trying to tell you something, pay attention to those, because that's your divine guidance right there. It's trying to hint to you like, hey, take a step back from this. Maybe you shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe this isn't working anymore. Trying to nudge you in another way that's going to feel better to you and put you in a place where you can receive this higher dimensional feeling that you're longing for. Now, keep in mind, you're not doing anything wrong if you have bad habits, if you lose your temper every now and then, this is all perfectly fine. It's been perfectly guided. I say this all the time. This is just all part of the process. Take it easy on yourself. We all do that. I have a short fuse a lot of the time, but I'm also very loving, like to the point it hurts, So when I lose my temper, I beat myself up so bad. But we have to remember to take it easy on ourselves, because we're doing our best. We truly are. And we mean well. We want the best. We're always wanting to be the best version of ourselves. And just that want alone is everything. So all these things that are being brought up that we're like, why do I keep doing that? It's because one day you're going to see it's going to be very easy for you to not do it. You're just going to be tired of it and be like, oh, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. It's come up so much. I'm done with it. So just being aware, that's the main thing of your emotions right now and where you want to be. How do you want to feel during this intense time? And as you're going through it, just like I said, you could visualize yourself looking at yourself, drowning in that, and then pulling yourself out. Like, hello down there. You know, I do that in humor, of course. I've said so many times, humor is incredible. That'll lift you right up quick. Go watch a funny movie, you know, crack jokes with a friend. If you're feeling a situation get tense with a friend or family member because you're disagreeing on something, make a joke out of it. Just take things very lightly right now because everybody is going through it. Whether they're awakened to this process or not, they're feeling it and it's not comfortable. So the best we can do to help each other right now is to just stay calm, make light of it as much as we can, and just be there. Just love. That's all we can do. Because, you know, we're still learning too as light workers. We're constantly learning. We're getting all this new information. We're remembering stuff that's been dormant in our DNA. So we're remembering all this stuff and we're trying to piece it all together. We get overwhelmed. We feel disconnected. Then we feel connected. It's a lot. I'm like exhausted talking about it right now. But I love talking about it. I love sharing this with you guys. So that's all I have for you today. We are victorious. We're just letting this play out, okay? This is a process that has to happen before this new era, this heaven on earth can emerge. And we're going to be here to see it. Remember that and tell yourself that. And believe. Trust. Trust in this process. Trust in yourself. Trust in the collective. Trust in God, whatever you believe in. And believe it is happening. Because it is. And I am still working on answering the questions that many of you have. I'm kind of a perfectionist sometimes. So I want to give you, you know, really good detailed answers and do my best with that. So I'm working on that. I have not forgotten. I'm hoping to do that in my next video. So hang in there with me. You are all doing amazing. You're doing your best, okay? With what you have right now. So just find a good place to sit down. Find a good place to settle and stay there for a little bit. Just stay there and ride this out. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I will talk to you all soon. I love you. Bye.